Welcome back to Piece of Work, the podcast. Today I have a special guest, my coach at F45, Stacy, Coach Stacy. And this is very impromptu. She didn't really have any prep. I didn't tell her the questions I was going to ask her because I wasn't 100% sure what questions I was going to ask her. But I wanted her to come in. I wanted to talk a little bit about F45, what it is, and Hyrox, which is another thing that Stacy's involved in. And I just asked her to come on. So, piece of work, we're all a piece of work, a work in progress, and a work of art. Coach Stacy, tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got to F45, what F45 is, and
Yeah, so I've been with F45 for 5 years coaching as a head coach. I started my journey with fitness when I started soccer, probably at 5 years old. I played soccer all through the collegiate level. And then after college, I was like, what the heck am I supposed to do? I love fitness, but how do I do this on my own? I really got into running and I started doing marathons.
didn't
And
know that.
yeah,
Same.
so after all of the running, I knew I needed some kind of strength program, and it was just really hard to do it all the time on my own at the gym. And I stumbled across F45, and it just brought me back to that college soccer experience, the fitness, the team aspect, and I just absolutely loved it. So I started as a member, and probably a year into my F45 journey, I decided I wanted to be a coach. And so I went through and got my personal training cert. And from there, I've been doing it ever since.
Great. That's awesome. I was just thinking as I'm hearing our voices echo through here, that I hope the sound on this is okay. Usually for a podcast, we want to be in a little bit more of an enclosed area, and we're in a huge studio. All of the F45 gyms are always in this big kind of industrial type feel with here, scoot over here so they can see. If anyone's watching on YouTube, you can see the kind of typical red, white, and blue colors. I loved hearing about your journey. We have way more in common than I even realized, but wondering for people who might not have ever even heard of F45, what is F45? Why is it called F45? Where did it come from? Who started it? What's the story? And I don't expect you to have a perfect
That's
history
perfect.
because I didn't prepare you, but
So F45, functional, 45 minutes. So the fitness is supposed to be very functional, very like all fitness levels. It teaches you movements that you already do in your day to day lifestyle. And then, of course, all the classes are 45 minutes, except for Saturdays, that being a special bonus of a 60-minute class. But that is what F45 is. It's high intensity interval training. So most of the time, for all of our workouts, we go based off time rather than reps. This way, all fitness levels, they just need to work through that allotted time where they can slow things down or go a little bit faster depending on what kind of goals they're working towards.
that's perfect. So yeah, my friend and I were discussing that about the reps versus the time. He was like, I don't like that. What's the philosophy? Who came up with this concept and how did they come up with that philosophy or what do you know about that?
Yeah, so I don't know if it's an F45 thing, but back in the day, you would hear a lot of like Tabata workouts, and it's 20 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest, and people just go through that round
The
wise.
intervals, yeah.
I think F45 does time-based sets because it allows people to be able to go at their own pace. If you were to say, okay, you have to hit 8 reps or 12 reps or maybe 15, some people might not be able to do that 15 reps. However, mentally, they can be like, okay, I can work for 30 seconds at a time at their own pace.
Makes sense. So all the workouts are different, but they follow a pattern. A lot of times when I'm trying to describe it to people, I'll describe it as almost like a cross between CrossFit and group personal training and I don't know. It's a combination of things. It's a class setup where you come at a specific time and you go through a prescribed class, but it's different than going to a workout class at a regular gym.
So this is all set up for you. The stations are already out, they're numbered. Something that you can't really replicate in a regular gym setting because it's hard to find all of that space if you're just going to some kind of box gym and
Mhm.
it's crowded. So all of the stations are set up for you. You don't have to think about it. You might get lost, but that's what us coaches are here. Shove it in the
Stacy loves to make fun of me because one of the reasons I like F45 is I don't really have to think about it. I show up. I've been working out since I was 17 years old. So I know I could do this workout on my own at the gym. It's not, I don't know the moves or anything. But anyway, I love F45 because I don't have to think about it. But half the time I'm lost about, wait, where am I going next? Because they do like to mix up the navigation of the room, which I think is hilarious. It's like sometimes you're in pods going, and then sometimes you're going around the whole entire room. And then sometimes you're going in a line and then back. And there's some classic F45 navigations, and then there's a couple funny things because it's from Australia, right?
Yeah.
So it's in some ways it's like backwards of how I think we would do it in the US. Like we'd go from back to front, and is it from right to left? Or I don't know. There's a couple things that
No, I agree.
different.
Yeah.
So how did it get started? Do you know who started it and when?
It's based in Australia. I do not know the person who started it. I know we have gone through a little shift of CEOs, so it's a new group now. I know Mark Wahlberg was
Is
a big
involved?
I don't know if he is now, but he did have a big thing about promoting it. But it did start in 2013 back in Australia and came over to the US. I believe it was started first US gym was California. But
Nice. Yeah, what's cool, so I am in East Mesa and we're at the Red Mountain F45. And if you're interested and you live in the area, definitely text, email me, reach out to me, and maybe I can get you a special deal. I didn't talk. That was one thing I was going to ask you is if we could have a special promotion. But I'm sure that we can arrange something. So I have worked out at a couple different F45s. I first found F45 when I was living down in Eastmark area, so not too far from here. And I was surprised how much I liked it because, like I said, I've been working out my whole life. I did marathons myself, and then I had stepped back from that after breast cancer and having babies in my 40s and a hip injury. But I had tried a lot of things, and I was looking for something new. I was feeling very uninspired whenever I'd go into the gym, and I was just like, I'm not wanting to train for marathons anymore, but I need something that's going to really keep me in shape where I don't really have to think much, and it's just exciting. And so the first time I did a class pass where you can try different things, and F45 wasn't part of that at the time, but there was the F45 near me. I decided to try a class. You could try one for free. And it happened to be a Saturday, so it wasn't 45, it was an hour. And it kicked my butt like nothing I had tried in years. I was shocked, and it felt so good. Like it was a good kick your butt. And I was like, okay, I'm hooked. So I joined pretty much the next week. It was way more expensive. It was 10 times the cost of the other gym that I was part of, the box gym, as you called it. But it was so worth it because not only did you have a set workout to follow, scientifically based without having to plan it out, but you just walked in. It was all set up for you, like you said. You had the community, like the other people around you, the energy. I loved the energy of it because I don't know about you, but I can really feel the energy of a room or a place. Like I go to some gyms and I can't stand the energy. Like it's just,
people are just
like
zombies.
yeah. Or it's just super crowded and just, yeah, everybody in their own. Here, it was just a very happy vibe, and I really liked that. The music was pumping. I'm not usually a fan of loud music, but like with the workout, it really gave the energy. There were coaches, and I have been to some F45s where the coaches can be a little annoying. That's one reason I like you, is that you you have a way of just looking at me. Like I walk in 5 minutes late and you're like, it's just a look, or I'm laughing, I'm lost, or I'm not picking up a weight that's quite heavy enough or something. And all you have to do is look at me. So anyway, I picked F45 because of all those things, the community, the camaraderie, the coaching, and then the workout itself. I just felt like it really is functional. I was in Hawaii felt like spring break, but it was actually like November because it was warm there. And just watching, we were there celebrating my mom's 80th birthday. And there was a man in the water, like probably an 80-year-old man. And I could see him like swaying, like he was going to fall. And I was like, okay, how can I like help him without making him feel embarrassed? So yeah, the nurse in me walked up, and that's exactly what I said. I was like, hey, just put your hand on my shoulder. I'm a lot stronger than I look. Just lean on me like a cane. And because he was, of course, taller than me. And he did. And I was like, don't worry, I'm a nurse. Don't worry. But it made me think just watching my mom and her boyfriend navigate the sand and that how awesome this workout really is as I get older. I'm only 51 now, but I feel like doing this type of workout is going to help me even just in everyday life as I get older. Like I've been trying to reach something up out of like a suitcase out of the
Yeah.
shelf in the garage, and I feel stronger just
Mhm.
on those, like you said, everyday movements. But it also really can change your body and change your.
Mhm.
What do you think about kind of shifting? So, like, workouts have definitely shifted. Like, there years ago, it was all about cardio, and now it's a lot less about cardio. Do you still do long runs, or do you only do the shorter runs?
So I still do long runs. However, we have to remember strength is so important and valuable, especially like in females. When you are in your 30s, probably 33 and older, if you're not doing strength training, each year you can lose up to 1% muscle mass.
Wow,
And I think about that in your 60s, if you take a fall and then you have a hip replacement,
hmm,
that leads to
so many
less,
people,
yeah,
such a downfall.
mobility issues and shoulders replacement and things like that. So strength definitely needs to be in the forefront of everybody's training plan. If that's 3 times a week or 5 times a week, whatever fits that schedule. Cardio is still really good, especially for our heart. It doesn't have to be crazy cardio, just going on a 30-minute brisk walk, or a lot of people like the Stairmaster. I would say F45 does have a really good balance of strength and cardio. However, those cardio days here are going to be a little bit more high intense than just going on your everyday walk, which should
Definitely.
be in your daily plan
Right.
weekly.
Yeah. Yeah. I know you're a big proponent of getting your steps in. Like,
Yeah.
even when we're talking about the
Mhm.
challenge coming up, you were saying that steps are a part of
Yes.
it. Why is that so important? Why are those steps
If
so
you think
important?
about it, us Americans are very, like, we sit all day.
Yeah.
And on average, Americans get 4,000 steps. The more we can move at a moderate pace, the more our bodies are burning, which also leads to weight loss or maintaining that weight as well, which is super important. Because if you're just sitting all day, your body's not burning, you're eating so many calories, and then people are like, why am I gaining weight? It's because you're moving less.
Yeah. So what is a good how do let's talk about females, middle-aged females, well, females between 35 and whatever age. What is a good way to actually move the scale? To actually not just move the scale, but get rid of that extra fat. And let's say somebody is already moving a little
Mm.
bit. How do you make
Yeah,
a difference?
I would say not to get too nitty gritty into the topic, but protein is going to be a really good thing to focus on. We need to be eating enough protein that keeps us feeling hungry, helping our muscles grow, recovering our muscles. And then on top of that, instead of thinking how I can change the scale weight to be less. I think it should be more of a mindset of how heavy I can lift day to day and like building that strength. The more muscle mass we have on our bodies, of course, might seem to make the scale increase. Mentally, not having a mindset of I want to be this number on a scale and rather what can I pick up weight wise?
I've literally stopped weighing myself,
Yeah.
honestly. I like the last couple of years I actually don't know exactly how much I weigh from day to day because it fluctuates anyway, and I go by how I look and
Feel.
feel
Yeah.
and how my clothes fit and
Yeah.
how, like you said, how much weight. I think it's so interesting that how things have shifted since when I was a teenager. We used to think low carb was best, and we used to think low fat, not low carb. We didn't think about carbs. We just thought about low fat. There was like all these snack wells, like all these things that I would eat in college, like rice with nothing on it. Like we thought that low fat,
Yeah.
if you didn't eat fat, you
You
wouldn't be fat. And we thought, yeah, if you were weighed less, you'd be skinnier and you'd look better. But it's actually, like you said, the muscle we all know weighs more than fat, and lifting more, lifting heavy things is like so important. And that we used to be afraid of that as women, like you're going to bulk up.
Yeah.
most of us couldn't bulk up if we tried. We'd really have
Yeah.
to try and change our diet
Yeah. Or
significantly
take
to even, yeah,
take other
take
things.
take things, yeah, take things to make us help. So what speaking of that, do you have any thoughts on supplements? What supplements regular people should be taking versus what is a waste and what is downright bad for us?
Yeah, I would start with protein powder and creatine are going to be my top choices of
Okay.
supplements.
Make those.
I wouldn't get too crazy into the supplements because it does come down to exercise and diet. If your diet, as in what you're eating, nutrition, isn't good, the things that you're supplementing with aren't going to magically make you lose weight. I think protein powder, if you are struggling eating like actual whole foods, chicken, meat, fish, protein powder is a great source to supplement for a post workout shake. If you're needing something super quick and you just don't have enough time to cook a meal, grabbing a protein shake for that on the go kind of thing. And then creatine, I think everybody should have creatine. It's one of the most studied supplements. We naturally create creatine in our bodies, women less than men. And if you don't eat as much red meat, you're not going to create as much as well. But creatine is my, yeah, second.
That's so interesting. I've been hearing a lot more about creatine lately, like in the last couple of years. And I recently started taking it regularly because I've heard and read that it's important to take it regularly.
Mhm.
It's not like a one and done thing. It's not like taking a shot of caffeine and you're going to instantly have
Right.
a hit of energy. It's
Mhm.
more building it up in
Yeah.
your body. So, what does creatine do in very simple terms? I
Yeah.
don't expect it.
So the number one thing, if you're going to take creatine, you have to be drinking enough water too, because what creatine does is it basically is taking water and filling up the muscles.
Oh, interesting.
If you don't have enough water in the body, then it really can't do its job.
Nice. Okay. So creatine is important. And other than that, you don't really think that specific supplements.
No, your everyday vitamins like multivitamin, fish oil, those things are great to have daily, but getting carried away with the supplements if your nutrition diet isn't in line, exercise, those supplements aren't going to do anything magical.
No, is there an easy formula? We've talked about macros a little bit here and there during class. Is there an easy formula for somebody to figure out what their ideal macros are, or do you really need like a coach or some kind of professional to help you?
It's not like you have need a professional, but I would start with some kind of body scan. So here at our studio, we use InBody and it can give you what is going to calculate your resting metabolic rate. So that number is pretty important because if you were just to lay down all day, do absolutely nothing, that's the number your body burns. Now you can add in roughly how many calories you're burning with exercise, daily activity to that, and that is going to help dictate how many calories you should be eating throughout the day. And then you can separate them into how many carbs, fats, and proteins. So you can find something like online to plug in, but I would start with some kind of body scan so you have a foundation
So you
number.
know where your body actually is,
Yeah.
not just where generally
Yeah.
someone who's your age and weight and
Yeah.
height is. That makes sense. Okay, so I'm sure there's so many other directions we could go, but I wanted to talk about sometime last year I started hearing about this thing called Hyrox, and I had never heard of it. And there seemed to be a sort of partnership between Hyrox and F45, and it was a little bit vague, so I still don't know a lot about it, but I know you do. So tell us about Hyrox and how that came in, how you got involved, and what's happening with that.
Yeah, so Hyrox goes back to, I think, starting around 2018. So it's so new to the world. It also, I believe, started in Australia, if not somewhere overseas. It is the best I can describe if you're used to Spartan races. It's like Spartan, but a mix of CrossFit and F45. And I use CrossFit very vaguely because I know the CrossFit competitions are hard.
Yeah.
But this involves quite a bit of running. So from that CrossFit background, and you're going to do 8 kilometers of running throughout the entire race. So it is a competition and it's very F45 style by the station. So you'll run a kilometer, you'll have a station work, you'll run a kilometer, another station. So 8 kilometers, 8 stations total when you finish. And they're very F45 functional. So think like skier, lunges, farmer's carries, things like that. You're doing all of these stations, all these runs, and it's always the same thing. So every Hyrox race you do, it's always the same structure.
So they have races. Are they like around the world? Is it?
Yeah.
And there's one
There's
here
one
this weekend, this week
So,
in Phoenix, and you're competing. Is this
yeah.
your first time competing?
No, this will be my 3rd race. I'm gonna do a solo, and then they also have options for doubles or even relays. So if this is something you hear about and you wanna try it and you just wanna get your feet wet, a double or a relay is a great place to start.
So with a relay, you would only do one of the stations, or
You would do 2 stations, 2 runs
oh,
out of
nice.
the 8. And then for doubles, you do all the runs, but you and your partner can mix up the stations on how you split them.
Nice. And it can be male, female, and stuff.
Yeah.
I noticed. Yeah, you're doing both. You're doing it.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is here in Phoenix. I don't know if I'm going to publish this podcast before or after it happens, but check it out. I think it's really cool. So what we've done, what is the relationship between, because we do some workouts here now that are Hyrox based.
Yeah, so F45 has partnered with Hyrox just because a lot of the station work you do in the actual race is identical to what you do here at F45. So we've partnered with Hyrox. We do 2 Hyrox workouts a week. You have your Thursdays and Saturdays, and Thursdays are very more minimal, not as much running. You've been to some of them.
I've
And
been to a
then,
lot of them. Yeah.
yeah, Saturdays, we do have a little bit more running just because we know a lot of people that come to class on Thursdays don't really enjoy running. So there's other ways that you can modify that and dial it back.
Nice. Yeah, I love it. We've run around the shopping center when we come. It's fun. It's actually I really love the short bursts of running because like I said, I did run marathons for several years, and then I had some injuries and things that prevented me from doing that. And I've been toying with the idea of getting back into it. So whenever I am outside doing that run, as much as it's a little bit painful, it's also a little bit invigorating, and it's a little bit like,
Yeah.
I think I could do this without pain now, so maybe I should.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Some 5Ks or half marathons.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll think about that. If people are interested in checking out F45, is there what should they do?
Yeah. If you're local to Mesa, like we said earlier, we can reach out to you, send an email, text.
Yeah, that way I can get us both like a good deal. Maybe
Yeah.
it'll be a win-win.
If you're not local, just Googling your closest F45. Most F45s have a trial entry that you can do, and there's no commitment usually, and you can try it out, see if it works for your schedule, if it's something that you can see doing it for a consistent fitness routine. And each studio is a franchise, so we have different membership options, so you'd have to check with that location, but
Yeah,
definitely
one
reach
of the
out.
coolest things that they added in the last couple of years is this passport. So even though each studio might be privately owned as a franchise, they're part of this network. And it used to be that you were a member of one studio and that was it. And it still is basically, each studio is separate. But with this passport, you can go, if you're a member, an unlimited member, you can go to any studio. You have a certain number of passport visits each month, and you can go. So like when I was in Newport Beach or San Diego, I was able to do it. And wherever I go, I can see where's the closest F45. And what's neat is you can show up, and there's some minor differences with each club. Sometimes the coaches aren't as good as Coach Stacy, but you basically know what you're doing. The workout is exactly the same, and the equipment is the same, and you'll feel very much at home. So it's almost like a home away from home, and it's a way to get your workouts in. I love it. It's, like I said, it's quite a bit more expensive than doing a regular gym, but to me, it's so worth it because it's something that I'll do. And it's something that I end up craving. If I miss my workout a couple, like 3 or 4 days in a row, I really miss it. It's become like a habit, and it's an easy habit, and it's something that I enjoy. It doesn't feel like misery to work out.
A little bit of misery.
Yeah, there might be moments of misery, but it's only 30 seconds or 60 seconds. There are days when I'm like, I don't like any of my options here. So I just have to push through. But you can push through something for 45 minutes. And I've always said with working out that something is better than nothing. So even your worst workout days, that's what's cool too, is you can modify things a little bit. You can go a little bit lighter. You can go a little bit slower.
Yeah.
You can take a little break if Stacy doesn't give you dirty looks. What else? Anything else that you think would be valuable for the person who's listening who maybe hasn't started a work? What about somebody who's not working out regularly and they're afraid that something like this might be too hard, or just that they don't know where to start?
Yeah. The hardest part is always starting and getting through the door. Anybody can do F45. I myself, as a collegiate soccer player, I was very intimidated when I even first started at 45, not thinking I was fit enough or in shape. But once you get in the door, you grow from there and it gets easier. You start getting stronger and more confident, and your coaches are really there to support you and just help you with your goals. So, if you have never even done a fitness program or you're just looking to start somewhere simple, a class like this is probably the best bet if you
Yeah,
have to start.
I agree. I think it's perfect for someone just starting out. And it's also perfect for somebody who's worked out for
Yeah.
20 years and just wants to mix it up. Even if, you have a workout, you know how to create your own workout. I still think it can be awesome because just mixing it up and having somebody else tell you what to do is nice.
Yeah, there's challenges in both. Like, I can push you harder, but I can also help somebody who's on their day one modify
Mhm.
things as well.
Yeah, that's one of the things I like most about it is that there's people at every level.
Yeah.
One of the things I wonder is, so you see a lot of people that like stay, their body type or their body composition stays the same, even though they're working out regularly. Do you think that is to some extent that's just genetics? Do you think it's the way they're working out? Do you think it's diet? Obviously, it's going to be different for every
Yeah.
person, but what are your thoughts on what we talked a little bit about that, but what really moves the needle if you're trying
Mhm.
to change your body composition or change get more lean or get more cut or
Yeah, I would first look at the consistency. Are you working out 3 to 5 times a week and doing that for at least 3 months? If that is something that you're already doing, I would look then at your nutrition. How much protein are you eating daily? Are we snacking a lot? Things like that. Next would be water. Are we getting enough water in us to stay hydrated? And those would be my top three. And along with the steps that we talked about, are you actually moving outside of the gym as well? Because a lot of people, they'll tell people, "Oh, yeah, I do workouts daily and I'm a pretty fit person." But 45 minutes a day is only 45 minutes. You
Mhm.
have 23 hours
Yeah, if you're
in.
sitting on your butt the rest of
Exactly.
the 24 hours.
That doesn't really help. So I
Right.
would look at your movement outside of the studio as well.
All right. Stacy, thanks for taking time out of your day and your week, your busy week with your race coming up and talking to me. I wish I had thought to have some equipment around to show for those of you who are watching on YouTube. But it's really a neat thing, and I've really enjoyed adding this to my life over the last couple of years. And I think that it's worth checking out if you're feeling bored with your workout routine, or if you're just looking for something new, or if you're just starting, or even if you're super fit. And yeah, I just think that it's such a great workout.
Well,
All
thank
right.
you. This was
Thanks.
awesome.
And thanks for listening to Piece of Work, the podcast. If you liked what you heard, please share it, please review it, please subscribe. Every episode is a little bit different. I talk about just life. And I believe that we're all a piece of work, a work in progress, and a work of art all at the same time. And we're just trying to get better every day. So I'm sharing tips on that. You can find me at danielletantone.com and all the socials at Danielle Tantone. And check out F45 too. All right. Thanks for listening. See you next time.